Welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Merkle. Here with my host today, Aaron. Go and say hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Alright, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be doing the first of a long 32 video series where we just talk about each team's individual off-season plans, or at least what we think they should be. And in today's video, we'll be starting with our very own Super Bowl champion, back-to-back Kansas City Chiefs, who have a few questions this offseason. Obviously, the receiving core did not really play up to expectations, at least in the regular season. Came through in moments in the playoffs, but you would like to tighten that core up a little bit. On top of that, you have Chris Jones, L'Jarius Sneed, two huge parts of that defense, captains in the playoffs. They're both, expired contracts, looking for new deals. So you got to make decisions on both of those guys. Are you going to keep them? Are you going to let them walk? How much are you willing to pay for them? But then on top of all that, you also got a couple other key contributors to this playoff run this season. You got backup guard Nick Allegretti, who stepped in for Joe Tooney the last two games and was really playing incredibly well given the circumstances, and helped keep Mahomes clean in the AFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl. You got linebackers Drew Tranquill and Willie Gay, both made their presence known all season long, as well as in the playoffs. You got to make a decision. Are you going to bring Tranquill back for another year? Are you going to let Willie Gay walk after you drafted him in the, I believe, first round, maybe second? You also got other defensive contributors like Derek Noddy, even though he was out for a large part of the season. You got Mike Dana, who stepped in and really helped out the defensive line with Noddy being out, and then obviously Chris Jones sitting out the first game of the season, where he kind of became known to Chiefs fans, I feel like, in that Lions game. You got Deion Bush, who obviously had the game-sealing pick in the AFC Championship game against Lamar Jackson. You got Blaine Gabbert, Hall of Fame quarterback, maybe, with 3 rings. Probably not.
Saved a life. Saved some people's life on a jet ski.
Hey, yeah, he's a great dude. He's a great dude. Went to a great school. Plays for a great team in
Yep.
the NFL now. Uh, Tommy Townsend, potentially the best punter in the league. You're probably gonna bring him back. I'm not sure he's gonna be. We're gonna let him walk because we're probably gonna pay him. McCole Hardman caught the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl, for goodness sakes. And then Mike Edwards stepping in for Brian Cook after he went down this season. Played safety alongside Justin Reed and really caused havoc in the defensive backfield. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who was a real disappointment with the Chiefs, had his moments from time to time, but he's probably, in all honesty, gone. And then you got the other backup running back, Jerick McKinnon, who was hurt a lot of this year, and kind of took a step back from his team leading touchdowns a year ago. So yeah, I mean, a ton of guys outside of just the two big names, Jones and Sneed, that are
I think you're
looking
you're
for new
forgetting the
deals.
biggest name on this list,
Who am I forgetting?
James Winchester, our
I
long
do. I
snapper.
almost said James Winchester. I'm not gonna lie. I almost said James
He's been
Winchester.
here forever.
He was gonna be the last one I mentioned, and then I was like, nah. But yeah, I mean, you got all these like key contributors who maybe aren't as big of impacts, but they do a lot of little things that you need to be successful. Is there any concern that by focusing too much on Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed that we maybe let one of these other guys slip through the cracks?
Yeah, I don't really see, unless they're willing to take team-friendly deals, how we can re-sign both Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. That'd probably be a tough task, especially if we're looking to, you know, maybe sign a wide receiver in free agency. I know you're not necessarily the biggest fan of that, but we've got like four really kind of crucial parts of our 4 or 5 really crucial parts of our defense that are free agents this year, and kind of like you said, Chris Jones, Snead, Gay, Dana, and Tranquil. They're all up, so uh, it's going to be tough. I mean, Chris Jones, he's older, but he's part of our core and has been there forever, and still showed that he's got it. So do you risk bringing back an older Chris Jones and paying him and seeing where that takes you, or do you maybe stick with the younger combo of like Snead and Willie Gay and look to replace Jones, in the draft or something? Um, I think it's a tough call.
No, it is for sure. I think so. I'm of the opinion we should try to keep Chris Jones. If not even prioritize him over L'Jarius Sneed. So the reason I'm saying that is unless you've got like a top, I don't know, 10 pick in the draft, it's hard to get like a stud defensive tackle as good as like a Chris Jones. You know what I mean? And as good as L'Jarius Sneed is, cornerbacks kind of grow on trees in the NFL, if we're being honest. Um, I feel like he'd be the easier position to replace. As well as he played this year, you already have McDuffie on the other side, who's your number one corner anyways, probably. And then you got Justin Reed in the safeties. Hopefully Brian Cook comes back and he's okay. Um, I feel like it would be a lot easier. I would like us to bring them back both, honestly. But I feel like Chris Jones would be harder to replace because D tackles are a lot, like to his caliber at least, are harder to come by for sure. I mean, obviously he's one of the best in the league, so maybe not quite as good as him. But like even a guy like a Jalen Carter over in Philadelphia, right? This is his name, Jalen Carter. Okay, goodness gracious. Like even a guy like him, like a young guy, the Eagles. I can't believe the Eagles were able to get him because he's a stud, and they already had a good defensive line. So I know that they had their down years after winning the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, but I'm pretty sure he was a rookie this year. So obviously, coming off a Super Bowl loss, they didn't have a very high pick. Those guys aren't always available late in the first round. Maybe in like a stacked quarterback class like this year, guys like those may fall. But a lot of times, you want a guy who can pressure the quarterback, and Chris Jones can do that better than just about any D tackle in the league.
So can I ask you a question real quick and frame it sort of in a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me you said cornerbacks kind of grow on trees, right? Cornerbacks who follow the other team's number one wide receiver all year and don't give up a touchdown until the divisional round. Those type of cornerbacks grow on trees.
No, but they're easier to cultivate, I think.
I think we got very, very lucky in finding Snead as a sort of diamond in the rough and him developing into the honestly all pro that he is. Um, and to have two with him and McDuffie, that's a very dangerous sort of
Oh,
combination
for
that we've
sure,
got,
yeah.
especially with the blitz combination that Spagnuolo is able to dial up with one or both of them. Um, I do, I see where you're coming from with Chris Jones. He completely, getting pressure on the quarterback that completely eliminates all receiving options if he gets home, whereas Snead only, takes away one. But I think his value to this team is sort of understated.
That's fair. I also I also feel like Chris Jones would be more likely to take a team friendly deal because he's already been paid. He's been here his entire career, and if he's a guy that just wants to keep winning Super Bowls, then where better to do it than the team you've been playing for your entire career? Snead, on the other hand, obviously coming off his rookie contract, was not a first round pick, mid round pick. He's going to be looking to get paid, and he should because he deserves it. he's probably going to be commanding a pretty high contract as far as cornerbacks go, and I think he's right to do so. Whereas Chris Jones
Track
made,
has him has his market value at like 16 million.
yeah, and we have 22 and a half in cap space, so that would eat up. What's Chris Jones's? I'm curious.
28 million. 28 and a half.
Yeah, so more than our uh, cap space. Uh, and 12 more than Snead. But I think I think that's a fair value for Chris Jones too. At the end of the day, because he causes he's such a difference maker. Um, Nobody like interior pressure is hard to come by in the NFL because a lot of times those guys are double teamed, sometimes even triple teamed. And Chris Jones just basically eliminates double team, like he makes double teams look like single teams. He's able to just split those guys at times. He's able to shove them to the side. He is just a complete difference maker up front. And I think
And he
he'd be a
commands
hard guy
enough
to replace.
attention to where, Karlaftis and
Hmm.
Omenahu, Inadike Uzama, they get,
They get
one-on-one
home more.
matchups because he draws so
Yeah.
much attention.
Yeah, and they're able, and then on top of that, you're able to have like a guy like McDuffie, run screaming in there because they're worried about Chris Jones so much that they've got the guard and the center, blocking him. They got the tackle guarding the end, and then all of a sudden that lane opens up where McDuffie can just fly in there and take out the quarterback. So I think I think his value. I mean, obviously, I think we both agree Chris Jones' value is high. I don't think that's an argument. Um, I think as far as impact to winning a Super Bowl too, I think he just means more. But I feel like your argument's probably that by signing by getting Snead and letting Jones walk, you really want that free agent wide receiver, basically, is kind of your
No,
thinking.
I don't see really any free agent wide receivers that, um, you know, necessarily we can really afford to bring in.
Yeah,
Um, I think we need to re-sign definitely either Chris Jones or L'Jarius Sneed, and that really puts a bind on our, free agent aspirations,
hmm,
especially as far as receiver goes. So I'm kind of with you. I'd be fine with picking up a young one in the draft and, um, maybe re-signing, um, someone who's not commanding as much money,
yeah,
that's still got a little experience and something to bring to the table. Because I mean, Rashi Rice is still so young,
right.
um, and if we get a receiver, that's going to be a really young core, and having a mentor in the building that could be really important.
Yeah, there's a few guys that I kind of expect to fall down towards the end of the draft at the wide receiver position. Um, I know Xavier Leggett's one guy I wouldn't mind us getting out of South Carolina. Who's the guy out of Oregon? I liked him. That I think he could potentially fall. Here, I got a mock draft pulled up, so let me just go down to see who they have around this area.
So let's see. We've got Mike Evans, OBJ, Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd, Cedric Wilson. Those are kind of like the top five.
Yeah,
As far as something that we could afford, maybe like a DJ Chark.
and DJ Chark's cool, but like I think Rasheed Rice is number one. He's got number one potential for sure. I think we need like a definitive number two, and I don't know if Chark checks that box. I think he's a good like three that can maybe mix it up sometimes and get you a few 100-yard games here and there. But I think we need a more consistent number two than what he can provide us. Um, I'm trying to find the list of wide receivers. It looks like Keon Coleman out of Florida State may be available towards the end of the draft. I said Xavier Leggett. Obviously, Roma Dunze is not going to be there, although that would be amazing. Uh, who's the guy out of Oregon? I'm blanking on his flippin' name. Which he may not even be available at that point. But Troy Franklin, yeah, I don't think he'll end up falling that far, but that'd be a nice grab. Um, Adonai Mitchell out of Texas, I really like him. So, yeah, any of those guys, maybe even Devontae Walker out of North Carolina. Um, I like any of those dudes. I don't think we're going to be able to grab like a Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze or Brian Thomas. Obviously, not a Marvin Harrison. Um, but any of those other four guys, I think, has potential to fall down to like third into the end of the first round, maybe even beginning of the second. Um, and who knows what the Chiefs do from there? Who, if you had to pick one receiver coming out this year, who do you want the Chiefs to grab?
That's realistic for us to
That's
grab.
yeah, that's real. I mean, obviously, we'd love to have Marvin Harrison, but we're not going to get Marvin Harrison.
Um, I don't know about the what the mock drafts say, but you said Adonai Mitchell out of Texas.
Hmm.
Xavier Worthy out of Texas. That's who I'd really like. I don't know how high they have him going, but I'd
Yeah,
like him.
yeah. I just want someone who's big and fast. Big and fast. That'd be cool. But that's easier to say than do, obviously. But yeah. You got anything else to add as far as Chiefs offseason plans go? I feel like we hit about everything. So hopefully Mahomes restructures a contract that is potentially in the works. So that'd be great. Potentially give us some more cap room to bring back maybe Snead and Jones. They said that the Chiefs want Chris Jones back. No shit. Like we obviously we want him back, but are we gonna get him? I don't know. But yeah, other than that, I think that'll do it for this episode. Most professional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Mark Merkel. Here's the ghost today, Aaron. Go and say bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Other than that, Chris Jones, come back. Deuces.